Your first tax season can feel confusing, stressful, and quite honestly, overwhelming. A few mistakes and issues can lead to a huge headache in the future when dealing with the CRA. I'm Stefan, a CPA here in Canada, and I'm here to help you navigate your first tax season.
If you are a new student, a new immigrant, a new graduate, or a temporary worker, and you just came to Canada and you haven't filed your tax return, these are the most important things you need to consider. So the first thing you need to consider here is having a SIN number. You must have a SIN number in order to file your first tax return, okay? You must have a SIN number to file your first tax return. Now, it can be a temporary SIN number or your actual SIN number, depending on your situation. But the CRA has on their website. They show you exactly the procedures and the requirements you need in order for you to receive your SIN number. Okay, so if you do need to, if you don't have a SIN number, you will need to apply online to have a SIN number before you can file a tax return. So that's the first step. Okay, the first step is making sure you have the SIN number. And the reason why you need to have a SIN number is because the SIN number acts as the identification tool in order to put your name to your tax return, okay? So it is your ID. Essentially, you might have someone with the same name as you, right? Then how would they know if it's you or that other person? Well, they use the SIN number as the identification. So you must all have a SIN number when you're applying and when you're trying to file your first tax return. Now, one of the things that is very important is to know that for many of you, you will likely only be an employee, that meaning that you'll work for someone, you'll have an employer, and in which case you will receive a T4 slip. So you can see here, this is how the T4 slip looks like. This is what it looks like. Now, what's very important to note is that you don't have to do anything regarding the T4. The T4 will be sent to you by your employer, either digitally or that it'll be mailed to you, depending on the employer. Now, that means you don't have to worry about the boxes in terms of how much income you earned. You don't have to worry about how much CPP, EI, how much tax you withheld. That's all done by your employer. Okay, that is up to them to make sure it is accurate, and it is up to them to make sure that they file their T4 by the end of February. Okay, so all that information will come from your employer. All of these boxes, they must be essentially allocated onto your income tax return because they all mean something. So one box will mean your employment income, the other box will mean your CPP, how much CPP you paid, how much EI you paid, how much tax you withheld. Here at the bottom, you have other boxes, okay? And that just means there might be other compensation you received from your employer that will be taxable and must be included on your income tax return. So what's important here? The most important thing is to make sure you have your T4, that you go and you put it into your income tax return when you're filing, and essentially making sure that everything is good there. Okay. Now, one of the last thing I want to mention is the filing date, when it's due, and the amount, the payment. Essentially, if you have a tax amount that is due, what are the rules around that? When do you have to pay, etc. So the filing date is April 30th, 2026 for the 2025 year end. That means you have until April 30th to complete your income tax return. If you file later, you will get a late filing penalty. And if you have an amount due, so you have a tax due, and you file later, you will have interest accumulated as well. So interest will start accumulating after April 30th or on May 1st. So make sure if you have a tax amount due that you file and you pay that tax before or on April 30th of 2026. So making sure that deadline is in your head, making sure you received your T4 slip before then, your SIN number, so that you can do this on do it correctly and not face any penalties or charges, etc. That is unnecessary. In terms of the software, I recommend using Wealthsimple Tax. That is the software I actually use. I think it is the most user-friendly. In terms of being able to actually complete your income tax return, it's not difficult. Many of you will only have a T4 slip, and you'll only need to input your information, your address, your SIN number, and this T4 slip. I recommend using Wealthsimple Tax. You can look into the description. There is a sign up link there. If you sign up and you fund your account, you'll get $25. So I do suggest using Wealthsimple Tax. There are a bunch of other tax softwares out there that you can use as well. But for me, my favorite one is Wealthsimple Tax. That is the one that I use. I think it is very good. Being a CPA, I really suggest using it. So the three things again to summarize here is making sure you get your SIN number, making sure that you receive your T4, and making sure that you know when to file. Okay, those are the three most important things to think about when considering doing your income tax return as a first-time filer.
In my next video, I'll be describing the most common mistakes Canadians make and how to avoid them. Subscribe to my channel for more tax clarity. Remember, this is general tax information, not personalized advice.